The text came at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, the kind of hour when bad news travels. Sis, are you awake? I need to talk to you. It's urgent. I was in bed, half asleep, my phone lighting up the dark room like a beacon. My sister Michelle never texted this late. Never asked for anything, really. She was the independent one, the one who'd left our small town at 18 and built a life in Las Vegas that looked glamorous from the outside. I'm awake. What's wrong? 3 disappeared, appeared again. Whatever she was typing, she kept changing her mind about how to say it. Finally, can I call you? My stomach dropped.
Yes.
The phone rang immediately, and when I answered, I could hear Michelle crying before she even spoke. Diane, she said, her voice breaking. I have cancer. The world stopped. Just stopped completely, like someone had hit pause on my entire life. What? The word came out as a whisper. Breast cancer. Stage 2. They found it 3 weeks ago during a routine mammogram. She was sobbing now, struggling to get the words out. I've been trying to figure out what to do, how to handle this, but Diane, I don't have enough insurance coverage. The treatment plan they're recommending, surgery, chemo, radiation, it's going to cost $30,000 out of pocket. $30,000. The number hung in the air between us like a death sentence. Michelle, I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I was crying too now, my hand pressed against my mouth. Have you told Mom? Not yet. I can't.
You know how she is.
She'll just fall apart, and I need to be strong right now. Michelle took a shaky breath. Diane, I hate to ask this. I hate it so much. But I don't have anyone else. Is there any way you could lend me the money? I'll pay you back, I swear. As soon as I'm well enough to work again. I'll pay back every cent. My sister. My baby sister, who I'd protected from bullies on the playground and helped with homework and taught to drive. The sister who'd been my maid of honor at my wedding, who'd held my hand when I miscarried, who knew me better than anyone. She had cancer, and she needed my help. Of course, I said immediately. Of course I'll help you. Don't even think about paying me back. We'll figure this out together.
Thank you, Michelle breathed.
Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done. You don't have to thank me. You're my sister. We're family. Let me back up because you need to understand what $30,000 meant to me. What it cost me to give it. My name is Diane Cooper, and I'm 46 years old. I work as an office manager for a small accounting firm, the kind of job that's steady but will never make me rich. My husband Tom is a high school teacher. We have 2 kids, Jacob, 17, and Emma, 15. We're comfortable. Not wealthy, but comfortable. We own our house. We take a modest vacation once a year. We're saving for the kids' college. Or, we were saving for the kids' college. That $30,000? That was Jacob's college fund. 4 years of putting away every extra dollar, every tax refund, every birthday check from grandparents. It was supposed to be his ticket to the state university, the engineering program he'd been dreaming about since he was 12 years old. But my sister had cancer. And when you have to choose between your child's education and your sister's life, there's really no choice at all. I talked to Tom that night, both of us sitting at the kitchen table at 1 a.m, cups of cold coffee in front of us. We'll figure out the college thing, he said, taking my hand. Jacob can get loans, he can work part-time, he can go to community college first. There are options. But Michelle needs this now. I know, I said. I just feel like I'm failing Jacob. Like I'm taking away something we promised him. You're not failing anyone. You're saving your sister's life. Tom squeezed my hand. That's what family does. So the next morning, I went to the bank and withdrew $30,000 from Jacob's college savings account. The teller didn't ask questions, just counted out the money with practiced efficiency and wished me a good day. I transferred it to Michelle's account that afternoon. She called me immediately, crying again. I got it. Diane, I can't believe you did this for me. I can't. She couldn't finish the sentence. Just focus on getting better, I said. That's all that matters. Get better and come home. I will. I promise. I'm starting treatment next week. I'll keep you updated on everything. Okay. I love you, sis. I love you too. For the next 3 months, Michelle sent regular updates. Text messages about doctor's appointments and treatment schedules. Photos of herself in hospital gowns, looking tired but brave, giving the camera a thumbs up. Voice memos telling me about the side effects of chemo, about how hard it was, but how she was fighting. I sent care packages. Soft blankets and puzzle books and ginger tea for the nausea. Cards with encouraging messages. Photos of the kids to keep her spirits up. Tom and I didn't tell Jacob about the money at first. We told him the college fund was still there, that everything was fine. We'd figure out how to break the news later, after Michelle was in remission. After we knew the sacrifice had been worth it. Mom still didn't know Michelle was sick. I'll tell her when I'm through the worst of it, Michelle kept saying. I don't want her worrying. In September, I asked Michelle if I could come visit. I want to see you, I said. I want to be there for you. Not yet, she said quickly. I look awful right now, Diane. I don't want you to see me like this. When I'm feeling better, when I've got some strength back, then you can come. Okay. Okay. I agreed, though it hurt to stay away. October came. Michelle's texts became less frequent. When I called, she often didn't answer, then texted later saying she'd been sleeping or at an appointment. The treatment is really taking it out of me, she explained. But it's working. The doctors are optimistic. I held on to those words. The doctors are optimistic. My sister was going to be okay. The $30,000, Jacob's college fund, the sacrifice, it was all going to be worth it. And then, on a Saturday afternoon in early November, I was scrolling through Instagram mindlessly while Emma did homework at the kitchen table, and I saw it. A photo. Posted 3 hours ago. Tagged location, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. It was Michelle. But it wasn't the sick, tired, brave Michelle from the hospital photos. This was a different Michelle entirely. She was on a beach, wearing a bright pink bikini, her skin tanned and glowing. Her hair was long and styled in beachy waves, not thin or falling out from chemo. She was holding a margarita in one hand, laughing at the camera, looking healthy and vibrant and completely, utterly fine. The caption read, "Living my best life. Palm tree sun, #blessed, #vacation, #Cabo." My phone slipped from my hands and clattered onto the kitchen table. Mom, Emma looked up. Are you okay? I couldn't speak.
Couldn't breathe.
I just stared at my phone, at that photo of my sister who supposedly had cancer, who supposedly was going through chemo, who supposedly was fighting for her life. My sister, who had just stolen $30,000 from me. Mom, Emma's voice was farther away now, concerned. What's wrong? I picked up my phone with shaking hands and scrolled through Michelle's Instagram. She'd made it private months ago, right around the time she'd told me about the cancer, but I was still following her. I just never thought to check it because I was getting updates through text. But now, looking at her profile with clear eyes, I saw what I'd been too trusting to notice before. The posts were all there if you knew what to look for. Michelle at a rooftop bar in August, the Vegas skyline glittering behind her. Michelle at a pool party in September, surrounded by friends, drinks in hand. Michelle at a concert in October, arms raised, dancing. All posted late at night or early in the morning. Times when she knew I'd be asleep or busy with work. And all of them showed a woman who was perfectly healthy. No weight loss. No pallor. No signs of illness whatsoever. I scrolled back further, to before the cancer diagnosis. The posts looked exactly the same. Same lifestyle, same friends, same party girl aesthetic. Nothing had changed except her bank account, fattened by $30,000 of my money. I need to make a phone call, I said to Emma, my voice hollow. Go to your room, please. But Mom.
Now, Emma.
She must have heard something in my voice because she gathered her homework without another word and disappeared upstairs. As soon as her door closed, I called Michelle. It rang once.
Twice.
3 times. Then straight to voicemail, like she'd declined the call. I tried again.
Same thing.
I opened our text thread and started typing, my fingers shaking so badly I had to retype half the words. I saw your Instagram. The photos from Cabo. You look really healthy for someone going through chemo. I watched the screen. The message showed as delivered. Then a moment later, read. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, I can explain. Explain what? That you've been lying to me for 4 months? That you stole $30,000 from me? I didn't steal it. You gave it to me. The audacity of that response made something break inside me. I called again, and this time she answered on the first ring. Diane, please let me explain. You don't have cancer. My voice was eerily calm. Do you? Silence. Do you? I was screaming now, all that calm evaporating in an instant. No, Michelle said quietly. I don't have cancer. The world tilted. Even though I'd known, even though I'd seen the photos, hearing her admit it out loud was different. It made it real. How could you? I whispered. How could you do this to me? I was desperate, Diane. I had debts. Gambling debts. Bad debts to people who don't accept payment plans. Her voice was pleading now. I was going to lose everything. They were threatening me. I didn't know what else to do. So, you told me you had cancer? You let me think you were dying? I was going to pay you back. I just needed time to get back on my feet, to win some of it back. Win it back. I felt hysterical laughter bubbling up in my throat. You have a gambling problem, Michelle. You don't win it back. You just lose more. I know that now. I'm getting help. I'm going to meetings. I don't care. The words came out cold and hard. I don't care about your meetings or your excuses or your justifications. You lied to me. You made me think my baby sister was dying. You took my son's college fund. $30,000 that we saved for years, that was supposed to give Jacob a future. And you spent it on what? Vacations? Gambling? What did you spend it on, Michelle? Some of it went to the debts, she said, her voice small. The rest? I don't know. Living expenses. Some trips. I just wanted to feel normal for a while before I had to face everything. Before you had to face everything? I repeated incredulously. Before you had to face what? The consequences of your own choices? The fact that you destroyed your own sister's trust. Diane, please. Jacob is 17 years old. He's been working so hard, getting perfect grades, doing everything right because he thought his college fund was safe. And now I have to tell him that it's gone. That his aunt lied and stole from us. My voice broke. How am I supposed to explain that to him? I'll pay it back, Michelle said desperately. I promise. I'll get a second job. I'll do whatever it takes. With what money? You just admitted you're drowning in gambling debt. You can't even pay back the people who are threatening you, but you're going to pay back $30,000? I laughed bitterly. Michelle, even if you wanted to pay me back, which I doubt you actually do, it would take you years. Jacob starts college next fall. Next fall, Michelle. 10 months from now. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give my son back his future. I took a shaky breath. I need you to hear me very clearly. You are not my sister anymore. I don't have a sister. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't ever contact me or my family again. We're done. Diane, no, please don't. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. Then I blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, every social media platform we shared. I deleted every photo of her from my phone, every text message, every voice memo. And then I sat at my kitchen table and cried until I couldn't cry anymore. Tom came home an hour later to find me still sitting there, staring at nothing. Diane? What happened? He dropped his bag and rushed over. Is it Michelle? Is she? She doesn't have cancer, I said flatly. She never did. She lied. About all of it. Tom's face went through several emotions in quick succession: confusion, disbelief, understanding, and finally, rage.
What?
I showed him the Instagram photos. Showed him the conversation. Watched him process what it meant. Watched him realize that $30,000 was just gone, stolen by someone we'd trusted completely. That money, he said slowly. Jacob's college fund. I know. We can't get it back. I know. Tom sat down heavily in the chair next to me. We need to call the police. This is fraud. She committed fraud. She's my sister. She was your sister. She stopped being your sister the moment she lied about having cancer to steal from you. Tom pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. Tom, wait.
No. His voice was firm.
Diane, I love you. And I know this is hard. But we have a son whose future just got stolen. We have a daughter who's going to college in 3 years. This isn't just about you and Michelle. This is about our kids. And I won't let her get away with this. He was right. I knew he was right. But the thought of pressing charges against my own sister, of sending her to jail, of making this official and public and real. What do we tell the kids? I asked. Tom looked at me, his eyes tired and sad. The truth. We tell them the truth. We called Jacob and Emma downstairs. They sat on the couch across from us, sensing something serious, their faces young and uncertain in the living room lamplight. Your Aunt Michelle doesn't have cancer, I said, deciding to just rip the bandage off. She lied about being sick to get money from us. $30,000. Emma's mouth fell open. Jacob just stared at me, not comprehending at first. What do you mean she lied? Jacob asked finally. I mean she never had cancer. She made it all up. The diagnosis, the treatment, everything. My voice was steadier than I expected. She had gambling debts and needed money, so she told us she was dying. That's insane, Emma breathed. People don't do that. Some people do, Tom said quietly, when they're desperate and not thinking clearly. Jacob's face had gone pale. The money. Where did it come from? This was the part I'd been dreading. I looked at my son, at his future sitting there in a 17-year-old body, and I told him the truth. Your college fund. I'm so sorry, Jacob. I'm so sorry. The silence that followed was deafening. My college fund, Jacob repeated slowly. The money you and Dad have been saving since I was born. That's what you gave her. Yes. All of it. Yes. Jacob stood up, his hands clenched at his sides. I've been killing myself for 4 years. Perfect grades. AP classes. SAT prep. Working part-time at the grocery store to help with expenses. Because I thought. His voice cracked. Because I thought the plan was still on track. That I could go to state, study engineering, have a future. You can still... I started. With what money, Mom? His voice rose. You just told me it's gone. $30,000 gone. because Aunt Michelle wanted to go to Cabo and gamble. Jacob, we'll figure something out. There are loans, scholarships. I already applied for scholarships. I got a few, but not enough to cover everything. The plan was always that the college fund would fill the gap. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture so like Tom it hurt. Do you know how much student loan debt I'll have to take on now? How many years I'll be paying that off? I know, I said, tears streaming down my face. I know, and I'm sorry. If I could take it back, if I could undo it, I would. But I thought my sister was dying, Jacob. What was I supposed to do? Not give her my entire future. He was yelling now, something Jacob never did. He was the calm one, the rational one. But that rational boy was gone, replaced by someone hurt and angry and scared. You should have verified it. You should have asked for proof. Medical records, bills, something. You just believed her because she cried and said she needed money. She's my sister. And I'm your son. Jacob shouted. Your son, Mom. And you chose her over me. The words hit me like a physical blow. That's not fair. Isn't it? Jacob looked at me with eyes that suddenly seemed much older. You took my college money and gave it to someone who lied to you, who manipulated you, who cared more about herself than about any of us. And now I'm the one who has to pay for your mistake. Jacob, that's enough, Tom said, but his voice lacked conviction. No, it's not enough. Jacob turned to his father. Did you know? Did you agree to this? Yes, Tom admitted. Your mom came to me, and we made the decision together. We thought we were saving Michelle's life. Well, congratulations. You got scammed, and I get to pay for it. Jason grabbed his phone off the coffee table. I need to get out of here. Jason, it's late. I'm going to Brian's house. Don't wait up. The front door slammed behind him, leaving a silence that felt like it might crush us all. Emma was crying quietly on the couch. Is my college money gone too? No, Tom said immediately. Your fund is separate and we haven't touched it. You're still okay. But Jacob isn't. Emma wiped her eyes. How is that fair? Why does he have to suffer because Aunt Michelle is a terrible person? It's not fair, I said. None of this is fair. Emma stood up, looking at me with disappointment that hurt worse than Jason's anger. I always thought you were the smart one in the family, the one who had it all together. But you just gave away $30,000 without even checking if it was real. She shook her head. I hope Aunt Michelle's vacation was worth destroying our family. She went upstairs, leaving Tom and me alone in the wreckage. Tom called the police the next morning. A detective came to the house, a tired-looking woman in her 40s named Rodriguez who'd clearly heard every kind of family drama imaginable. Fake cancer scams are more common than you'd think, she said, taking notes. Usually it's for smaller amounts, though. $30,000 is substantial. Can we get the money back?
Tom asked.
Detective Rodriguez's expression told us the answer before she spoke. We can file charges for fraud, yes. But recovering the money? That's much harder. If your sister has already spent it, and it sounds like she has, there's nothing to recover. We can't get blood from a stone. So, she just gets away with it? I asked. She'll face criminal charges if we can prove fraud, which shouldn't be hard given the text messages and the Instagram evidence. But even if she's convicted, that doesn't mean you get your money back. The court can order restitution, but if she doesn't have assets, you'll be waiting in line with her other creditors. She closed her notebook. I'm sorry. I know that's not what you want to hear. After Detective Rodriguez left, Tom and I sat in silence. We should call Mom, I said finally, before she hears about this from Michelle. Tom nodded. Do you want me to do it?
No.
It should come from me. My mother answered on the third ring, her voice cheerful. Diane, what a nice surprise.
I was just thinking about you.
Mom, I need to tell you something about Michelle. The cheerfulness evaporated. Is she okay? Did something happen? She's fine. Physically, she's fine. I took a breath. Mom, Michelle told me 4 months ago that she had breast cancer. She said she needed $30,000 for treatment. What? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't she? Because she doesn't have cancer, Mom. She never did. She made it all up to get money for me. Money that she's already spent. The silence on the other end of the line stretched so long, I thought the call had dropped. Mom, that's not possible, Mom said finally, her voice small and confused. Michelle wouldn't do that. She wouldn't lie about something like that.
She did.
I have proof. Instagram photos of her on vacation, looking perfectly healthy. Text messages where she admitted it. I felt tears burning behind my eyes again. She has a gambling problem, Mom. Serious debts. She was desperate, and she lied to me. No, Mom said, but there was no conviction in it. No, there has to be some explanation. Maybe she was in remission and didn't want to worry you. Mom, she never had cancer. There was no treatment, no doctors, no illness. Just lies. I heard my mother start to cry. My baby girl wouldn't do that. She did, I said gently. And Mom, there's more. The money she took was Jacob's college fund. All of it. He starts college next fall, and now we have nothing saved. Mom's crying got louder. Oh God. Oh God, Diane. What has she done? I don't know. But Tom called the police this morning. They're filing fraud charges. You're having your sister arrested? The judgment in her voice stung. She stole $30,000 from us, Mom. She destroyed Jacob's future. What would you have me do? Just let it go. She's your sister. She's my daughter. Mom's voice was pleading now. Please, Diane, don't do this. We can work it out as a family. There is no working this out. Michelle admitted she's already spent the money. Even if she wanted to pay us back, she can't. She has debts of her own. I felt my resolve hardening. And honestly, Mom, I don't care. She made her choice. She chose to lie, to manipulate, to steal. Now she gets to face the consequences. You're going to regret this, Mom said. When you calm down, when you've had time to think. I'm not going to change my mind. She's your sister, Diane. Your only sister. Family forgives. Family doesn't fake cancer, I said quietly. Family doesn't steal from family. Whatever Michelle is to you, she's not my sister anymore. Not after this. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was trusting her in the first place. I took a breath. I have to go, Mom. I just wanted you to hear it from me before the police contact you. Diane, please. I hung up and immediately started crying. Tom pulled me into his arms and held me while I sobbed. I just lost my sister and my mother in the same day, I said against his chest. You didn't lose them, Tom said. They lost you. There's a difference. Jacob didn't come home that night. He texted around 10 p.m., staying at Brian's. Need space. I wanted to call him, to explain again, to make him understand. But Tom stopped me. Let him process, he said. He's angry, and he has a right to be. Pushing him right now will only make it worse. So I lay awake all night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation with Michelle over the past 4 months, looking for the signs I'd missed, the lies I should have caught. They were all there in retrospect. The way she'd always had excuses for why I couldn't visit. The way she'd sent photos but never video chatted. The way her treatment updates were always vague, never specific enough to verify. I'd been so stupid.
So trusting.
so desperate to believe my sister was telling the truth that I'd ignored every red flag. At 3 a.m., I got up and went to my computer. I opened Facebook and searched for Michelle, even though I'd blocked her. I used Tom's account instead. Her profile was still public to friends of friends. I scrolled through her timeline, looking at the past 4 months through clear eyes. August, having the best summer ever. #blessed, #living my best life. September, sometimes you just need a girl's trip to recharge. Tropical drink airplane. October, concert season is my favorite season. Musical note. November, Cabo, you have my heart.
Palm tree.
And mixed in between the vacation photos were posts about manifestation and positive thinking and living without regrets. The kind of vague inspirational quotes that people who were running from their problems loved to share. There was not a single mention of illness, not a single post asking for prayers or support, nothing that suggested she was facing anything more serious than deciding which beach to visit next. I found a photo from late August, posted at 2 a.m. Michelle and 3 other women at a casino table, drinks in hand, laughing at something off camera. The caption, "Lady Luck is on our side tonight. Money bag." The date was 2 weeks after she'd supposedly started chemotherapy. I took screenshots of everything. Every vacation photo, every party picture, every casino visit. Built a timeline of lies that I forwarded to Detective Rodriguez. When I finally closed the laptop, the sun was coming up, and I felt like I'd aged 10 years in a single night. Jacob came home the next afternoon. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, his shoulders hunched like he was carrying a physical weight. "We need to talk," he said, not looking at me. We sat at the kitchen table, the 3 of us, and Jacob pulled out his laptop. "I spent last night researching," he said, his voice flat and businesslike. "Student loans, scholarships, work-study programs, community college options. I made a spreadsheet." He turned the laptop to face us. It was color-coded and detailed, showing every possible path forward for his education. "If I take the maximum student loans and work part-time during school, I can make state work. But I'll graduate with about $60,000 in debt." He pointed to another column. "Or I can do 2 years at community college, then transfer to state. That cuts the debt down to about $30,000. "Jacob," I started, but he held up his hand. "I'm not done. There's a third option. I defer enrollment for a year, work full-time, save everything I can, then reassess." He looked at me finally, and his eyes were cold. "I've already decided. I'm doing community college. It's the most practical option." "You don't have to," Tom began. "Yes, I do." Jacob's voice was hard. "Because the money is gone, Dad. It's not coming back. Detective Rodriguez called me this morning to ask me some questions, and she was very clear about that. Even if Aunt Michelle gets charged, even if she somehow gets convicted, we're never seeing that money again." "We'll figure something out," I said. "We can take out a loan or remortgage the house."
No.
Jacob closed his laptop. "You're not going into debt because of Aunt Michelle's lies. I'm not letting her destroy this family any more than she already has." "Community college is a good school," Tom said carefully. "And you can still transfer to state after 2 years." "I know it's a good school. That's not the point." Jacob stood up. "The point is I've been working towards state since freshman year. I toured the campus. I met with the engineering department head. I planned my entire future around going there next fall. And now I'm not, because my aunt faked cancer, and my mother believed her." The accusation hung in the air like smoke. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "Jacob, I'm so sorry." "I know you are," he said, and his voice finally cracked. "I know you didn't mean for this to happen. I know you thought you were doing the right thing. But, Mom, It doesn't change anything. The money is still gone. My plans are still ruined. And every time I sit in a community college classroom instead of at state, I'm going to remember why. He walked out of the kitchen, and I heard his bedroom door close upstairs. Tom reached across the table and took my hand. He'll forgive you eventually, will he? I asked, because I'm not sure I'd forgive me. The fraud investigation moved quickly. Detective Rodriguez called a week later with an update. We've charged Michelle Cooper with theft by deception and fraud, she said. The prosecutor thinks we have a strong case. But there's something you should know. What? Your sister has filed for bankruptcy. She's claiming she has no assets and overwhelming debt. The gambling debts she mentioned? They're real. She owes money to several casinos and what appears to be a loan shark in Vegas. So, what does that mean for us? It means even if we get a conviction and the court orders restitution, you'll be standing in line behind a lot of other creditors. And in a bankruptcy, unsecured debt like restitution usually gets pennies on the dollar. Rodriguez paused. I'm sorry, Mrs. Cooper. I wish I had better news. After I hung up, I told Tom what Rodriguez had said. So that's it, he said. The money is really gone. Yes. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Tom asked, Do you regret it? Calling the police? I thought about that carefully. No. Even if we never see a cent of that money again, at least Michelle will face consequences for what she did. At least there will be a record of her fraud. At least she won't be able to do this to someone else. Your mother called me yesterday, Tom said, while you were at work. What did she want? She begged me to convince you to drop the charges. She said Michelle is sick and needs help, not punishment. That family doesn't send family to jail. What did you tell her? I told her that Michelle stopped being family when she faked cancer to steal from her own sister, and that you weren't changing your mind. How did she react? She said we were both going to hell for turning our backs on family. Tom shook his head. Then she said she couldn't support our decision, and until we came to our senses, she thought it was best if we didn't speak. So now I'd lost both my sister and my mother. The two women who were supposed to be my family, my support system, my people. Gone, because I'd refused to let fraud go unpunished. Do you think I'm wrong? I asked Tom. For pressing charges? No, he said firmly. I think you're doing what needs to be done. Michelle made her choices. Now, she gets to live with them. Thanksgiving came 2 weeks later. Usually, we have driven to Mom's house, would have spent the day with Michelle and Mom and Tom's parents, the whole extended family crammed around a too-small table. Instead, it was just the 4 of us. Tom cooked a small turkey. Emma made mashed potatoes. Jason sat through dinner in silence, barely eating, clearly wishing he was anywhere else. I have something to say, I announced when we'd finished eating. Everyone looked at me. I know this has been a horrible few months. I know I made a mistake that hurt this family in ways I can't fully repair. But I want you all to know that I'm done letting Michelle's choices control our lives. I looked at Jason specifically. You're going to have an amazing future, whether it starts at state or community college. Your education isn't ruined. Your life isn't ruined. It's just different than we planned. Mom, Jason started. Let me finish. I also want you to know that I'm going to spend every day for the rest of my life making this up to you. I don't know how yet, but I will find a way. Jason was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I talked to my guidance counselor about the community college plan. And she said it's actually not a bad path, Jacob continued, his voice less cold than it had been in weeks. A lot of students do it. The credits transfer, and I'd save money even without everything that happened. She said some employers actually like it because it shows financial responsibility and planning. That's good. Tom said carefully. That's really good. It's not what I wanted, Jacob said. But I'm trying to make peace with it. Trying to see it as plan B instead of plan failure. He looked at me. I'm still angry, Mom. I don't know when I won't be angry. But I also know you didn't do this to hurt me. You thought you were saving Aunt Michelle's life. I did, I said, tears streaming down my face. I really did. I know. Jacob pushed food around his plate. I just wish you'd verified it first. Wished you'd protected us before you protected her. Me too, I whispered. Me too, baby. Emma reached over and took my hand. We're going to be okay, Mom. All of us. It's going to take time, but we'll be okay. I squeezed her hand, grateful for her kindness, even if I didn't deserve it. The trial was set for March. Michelle hired a public defender, a young woman fresh out of law school who looked overwhelmed by the case. I had to see Michelle in court for the first time in 6 months. She'd lost weight, her hair was darker, and she looked tired in a way that had nothing to do with illness. When our eyes met across the courtroom, she quickly looked away. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Patricia Chun, laid out the case methodically. The text messages claiming cancer. The Instagram photos proving she was healthy. The bank records showing my $30,000 had been deposited and then systematically withdrawn for vacations, gambling, and living expenses. Michelle's lawyer tried to argue that it wasn't fraud because I'd given the money willingly. There was no coercion, she said. Ms. Cooper asked for help, and her sister chose to provide it. Lying isn't necessarily illegal. Lying to obtain money under false pretenses is absolutely illegal, Patricia countered. It's textbook fraud. Ms. Cooper manufactured a terminal illness, provided false updates about treatment, and maintained the deception for 4 months to continue extracting emotional and financial support from her sister. The intent to deceive is clear. The financial harm is documented. This is fraud. When Michelle took the stand, she cried. Talked about her gambling addiction, her mental health struggles, her desperation. Made herself the victim of her own choices. I never meant to hurt my sister, she said, looking at the jury with pleading eyes. I was in such a dark place. I made terrible decisions. But I loved her. I still love her. On cross-examination, Patricia was ruthless. Ms. Cooper, you say you love your sister. Is that why you spent her son's college fund on vacations? I was trying to feel normal. Is that why you posted photos of yourself partying while supposedly undergoing chemotherapy? I was in denial about my problems. Is that why you blocked her number when she discovered your lies instead of immediately trying to make it right? Michelle had no good answer for that one. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they came back, the verdict was unanimous. Guilty on all counts of theft by deception and fraud. The judge set sentencing for 2 weeks later. As they led Michelle out of the courtroom in handcuffs, she'd been remanded into custody pending sentencing. She looked at me one more time. I'm sorry, she mouthed. I looked away. Mom called that night. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Are you happy now? She asked, her voice thick with tears. Your sister's going to prison because of you. My sister is going to prison because she committed fraud, I said quietly. I didn't make her lie. I didn't make her steal. She did that all by herself.
She's sick, Diane.
She has an addiction. She needs help, not punishment. She's had help available to her for years, Mom. Gamblers Anonymous therapy, support groups. She chose not to use any of it. She chose instead to fake cancer and steal from her family. I took a breath. And you know what? I'm done feeling guilty about holding her accountable. I can't believe you've become this cold. I'm not cold, Mom. I'm just done being a doormat. Done letting people hurt me and my family because they're sick or struggling or family. My voice hardened. Michelle made her choices. You're making yours by defending her. And I'm making mine by protecting my kids. So that's it? You're just going to cut us both out of your life? You cut me out of your life when you chose Michelle's comfort over my family's well-being. When you decided that enabling her was more important than supporting me. I felt surprisingly calm saying it out loud. I spent years being the responsible one. The one who had it together. Sarah didn't speak on the drive home. She sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window at the dark streets sliding past, her phone in her lap, silent and dark. I wanted to say something comforting, something wise, something that would make this hurt less. But there were no words for what she was feeling. Her father had been unfaithful. Her uncle had catfished her using her dead father's account. And a woman she'd trusted, a friend she'd confided in for 6 months, had been her father's mistress all along. Some betrayals are too big for words. When we got home, Sarah went straight to her room. I heard the door close, not slammed but firmly shut. A clear message, I need space. I set the box of David's things on the kitchen table and made myself tea I would drink. Then I sat in the dark living room, the same room where I'd scrolled through David's Facebook profile just hours ago, and I cried. Not for David. Not for the marriage that had been dying long before he crashed his car on a rainy Tuesday night. I cried for Sarah, for the loss of her innocence, for the image of her father that had been shattered tonight, for the friend named Katie who'd never existed, for all the pain I'd tried so hard to protect her from, but had only delayed. Around 2 in the morning, I heard Sarah's door open. She came down the stairs slowly, carefully, and found me still sitting in the dark. Can't sleep? She asked. Can you?
No.
She sat down on the couch next to me, leaving that same careful space between us. I've been reading Dad's journal. The whole thing. I'd brought the box up and left it outside her door hours ago, a peace offering or an apology, or maybe just an acknowledgement that she was old enough to handle the truth, however ugly it might be. And I asked carefully. He really loved you, Sarah said. Like, really loved you. The last entries, the ones from the days before he died, they're all about how much he regretted the affair. How much he wanted to fix things. How scared he was that he'd lost you forever. I know. Do you think you would have forgiven him? If he'd lived long enough to tell you the truth. It was the question I'd been asking myself for 3 years. The question that had kept me up at night, that had colored every memory of David in shades of what if and maybe. I don't know, I said honestly. I want to say yes. I want to believe that I would have heard him out, that we could have gone to counseling, that we could have rebuilt our marriage into something stronger. I paused. But the truth is, Sarah, I was so angry, so hurt. The trust was broken, and I don't know if it could have been repaired. So the marriage would have ended anyway. Maybe. Probably. I looked at her in the dim light from the street lamp filtering through the curtains. Does that change how you feel about him? Sarah was quiet for a long moment. I don't know how I feel about anything right now. I'm angry at him for cheating. I'm angry at you for lying to me about it. I'm angry at Uncle Marcus for the Facebook thing, and at Karen for being Katie. She pulled her knees up to her chest. But I'm also just sad. Because I can't ask Dad about any of this. I can't yell at him or demand answers or tell him how much he hurt me. He's just gone, and I'm left trying to reconcile the Dad I remember with this person who did terrible things. He was both, I said softly. That's the hardest part. He was the dad who built you a treehouse and taught you to ride a bike. And he was also the husband who had an affair and lied about it. People aren't just one thing, Sarah. They're complicated and contradictory, and sometimes they do things that hurt the people they love most. Like you lying to me for 3 years? The words stung, but I deserve them.
Yes.
Like that. Sarah rested her chin on her knees. Karen, she asked me once if I thought my parents' marriage was happy. I told her I thought it was perfect, that you and Dad were soulmates. She laughed bitterly. God, I was so naive. You were a kid, I said. You saw what we wanted you to see. That's not naive, that's just being a child. Which you were supposed to be. I'm not a child anymore. No, I agreed. You're not. We sat in silence for a while, both of us processing, both of us trying to figure out how to move forward from this point. I messaged Uncle Marcus, Sarah said finally. Told him I need time, but that I don't hate him. That I understand why he told us the truth, even if I don't love how he did it. That's very mature of you. Yeah, well, somebody in this family needs to be mature. She gave me a small, sad smile. I also blocked Karen on the grief forum. Deleted all our messages. I know she said she'd delete the account, but I didn't want to take any chances. Good. Mom. Sarah turned to look at me. Can I ask you something? Anything. If Dad had lived, if you had gotten divorced, would you have been happy? Eventually? I thought about that carefully. I think so. I think I would have grieved the loss of what we had, what I thought we had. But yes, eventually, I think I would have been happy. Maybe happier than I was in the marriage. Then maybe. Sarah trailed off, choosing her words carefully. Maybe the real tragedy isn't that Dad had an affair, or that he died before you could work things out. Maybe the tragedy is that you never got the chance to find out who you could be without him. The wisdom in her words surprised me. When did you get so wise? Probably around the time I found out my entire understanding of my family was built on lies, she said dryly. But there was no real bitterness in it. Just exhaustion and a kind of resigned acceptance. I'm sorry, I said. For all of it. For lying, for trying to protect you when what you really needed was the truth. For making you think your father was perfect when he was just human and flawed and trying his best, even when his best wasn't good enough. I know, Sarah said. She leaned over and rested her head on my shoulder, the way she used to when she was little and had a bad dream. I'm sorry, too, for shutting out Uncle Marcus, for being naive about Dad, for believing Katie was real. None of that is your fault, baby. I know, but I'm still sorry. We sat like that for a long time, mother and daughter, both of us wounded but still here, still together, still trying to figure out how to be a family when half of that family was gone, and the other half had been living in a carefully constructed fantasy. The sun was starting to rise when Sarah finally went back to bed. I stayed on the couch, watching the sky lighten through the window, thinking about everything that had happened in the past 12 hours. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Is Sarah okay? Are you okay? I can't sleep. I stared at the message for a long moment before responding. We're processing. It's going to take time. I understand. I'm here if you need me. I know. I set my phone down and picked up David's journal from where Sarah had left it on the coffee table. I'd avoided reading it until now, afraid of what I might find. Afraid of reliving the pain of those final months. But Sarah was right. I needed to know the whole truth, too. I opened it to a random page somewhere in the middle and started reading. March 15th. Jennifer asked me again today if I'm having an affair. She looked me right in the eye and asked, and I lied. Again. I saw the hurt in her face, the way she knew I was lying but couldn't prove it. I'm destroying her, piece by piece, and I don't know how to stop. Kay called 3 times today. I didn't answer. I told her last week that we need to slow down, that this is getting too complicated. She said she understood, but then she keeps calling, keeps texting, keeps showing up at places she knows I'll be. I don't know how I got here, how I became this person. The handwriting was messier than usual, like David had been writing quickly, urgently. I turned the page. March 22nd. Took Sarah to get ice cream after school today. She told me about this boy in her class who likes her, asked me what she should do. I gave her advice about being honest, about communication being the most important thing in any relationship. The irony wasn't lost on me. How do I tell my daughter to be honest when I've been lying to her mother for months? How do I teach her about integrity when I have none? I need to end this. Tomorrow. I'm going to tell Kay it's over. Really over this time. But there were more entries after that. More weeks of I'll end it tomorrow, and this is the last time, and I'm such a coward. David had been trapped in his own weakness, unable to end the affair, but unable to live with it either. I flipped toward the end, to the entries from the week before he died. May 3rd. Told Marcus everything today. Sat in his living room and confessed the whole thing. The affair with Karen, Jennifer planning to leave me, how badly I've destroyed my life. I thought he'd punch me. Maybe I wanted him to. But he just sat there looking at me like he didn't know who I was. You slept with Karen? He kept saying. My Karen? You knew how much I loved her, how much it hurt when we broke up, and you still. I tried to explain that it wasn't like that Karen and I were both broken and looking for comfort. But there's no explanation that makes it okay. I betrayed my wife. I betrayed my brother. I betrayed myself. Marcus said I need to tell Jennifer the truth. That she deserves to know before she finds out some other way.
He's right. He's always right.
I'm going to do it this weekend. After Sarah's graduation, I'm going to sit Jennifer down and tell her everything. About Karen, about the affair, about how sorry I am. And then I'm going to beg, literally get on my knees and beg for one more chance. I don't deserve it. I know I don't. But I love her. God, I love her so much. And I love Sarah. And I can't lose them. I won't survive losing them. My hands were shaking. David had been planning to confess. Planning to fight for our marriage. And then a drunk driver had run a red light, and David had died instantly, and I never got that conversation. Never got the confession or the apology or the chance to decide whether I could forgive him. I kept reading. May 6th. 3 more days until I tell Jennifer. I'm terrified. Marcus thinks she might forgive me eventually, but I don't know. I've seen the way she looks at me lately, like she's already planning her life without me in it.
But I have to try.
I have to at least try. Sarah asked me this morning if everything was okay between Jennifer and me. She said we seemed distant. I told her everything was fine, that adults just go through phases. Another lie. How many lies can one person tell before they forget who they really are? After graduation, I'm going to tell them both the truth. Sarah deserves to know too, eventually. Not right away. She's too young, and it would destroy her. But someday, when she's older, I want her to know that I made mistakes, but that I tried to fix them. That I loved her mother. That I loved her. That I was just a man who got lost and couldn't find his way back in time. That was the last entry. David died 2 days after writing those words. I closed the journal and sat there in the growing morning light, tears streaming down my face. Not for the marriage that had ended. Not for the affair or the betrayal or the years of lies. I cried for the conversation we never got to have, for the apology I never got to hear, for the chance at forgiveness that died with David on that rainy night. The next morning, Sarah and I made breakfast together. Pancakes, the way David used to make them on Sunday mornings, with chocolate chips and strawberries. We didn't talk about the night before. We just cooked and ate and cleaned up, moving around each other in the familiar rhythm of people who'd shared a kitchen for 17 years. I read the rest of Dad's journal last night, I said as I washed dishes. Sarah looked up from her phone. And he was planning to tell me the truth. The weekend after graduation, he was going to confess everything and ask for another chance. Do you think you would have given it to him? I've been thinking about that all morning. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But I think I would have at least listened, given him the chance to explain. I turned off the water and dried my hands. And I think, eventually, I might have been able to forgive him. Not forget, I don't think you ever forget that kind of betrayal. But forgive, maybe. So, it's sad that he died before you got that chance. Yes, I agreed. It's incredibly sad. But Sarah, I've realized something. The conversation I needed to have with your father about the affair, about our marriage, about whether we could move forward, I can't have it anymore.
He's gone.
And I need to accept that and find a way to move forward without that closure. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Is that why you've been so angry for 3 years? Not just because Dad cheated, but because you never got to confront him about it. Partly, yes. I sat down across from her. But also because I felt guilty. Guilty that my last thoughts about your father before he died weren't loving ones. Guilty that I was planning to leave him. Guilty that I felt almost relieved when he died because it meant I didn't have to go through a messy divorce. Mom, I know how that sounds, I said quickly. I'm not saying I wanted him to die. I would never want that. But there was a part of me that felt like his death solved a problem I didn't know how to solve myself. And I've been carrying that guilt around for 3 years, trying to make up for it by turning him into a saint in your eyes. Sarah reached across the table and took my hand. You're not a bad person for feeling that way. You're just human. So was your father, I said. That's what I should have told you from the beginning. That he was human and flawed and complicated. That he made terrible mistakes but was trying to be better. That love isn't simple or easy or perfect. I'm glad I know now, Sarah said. Even though it hurts. Even though I wish Katie had been real and Dad had been faithful and Uncle Marcus hadn't catfished me with a dead man's Facebook account. She smiled sadly. At least now I know the truth. After breakfast, Sarah said she was going to Megan's house. I need to tell her everything. She's been my best friend since kindergarten. She deserves to know why I've been such a mess lately. Okay, I said. Call me if you need anything. I will. She paused at the door. Mom? We're going to be okay, right? I looked at my daughter, almost 18, almost an adult, standing on the threshold of a life that would be filled with disappointments and betrayals and truths she didn't want to hear. But also love and growth and the hard-won wisdom that comes from surviving the things that break your heart. Yes, I said. We're going to be okay. After Sarah left, I called Marcus. Jen. He answered on the first ring, his voice cautious. I'm not calling to yell at you, I said. I just wanted to let you know that Sarah's okay. We talked last night. She's hurt, but she'll be okay. Thank God. I heard him exhale. I've been worried sick. I thought maybe I destroyed my relationship with her permanently. You came close, I said honestly. But Sarah's resilient. She gets that from her father. The words felt strange to say, acknowledging David's good qualities after a night spent confronting his worst ones. Marcus, we need to figure out a new normal. For Sarah's sake. Maybe family dinners once a month? Or coffee? Just the three of us. I'd like that, Marcus said quietly. I'd really like that. But Marcus? No more secrets. No more catfishing or Facebook messages or manipulation. If you want to be part of our lives, you have to be honest.
Can you do that?
I can, he said. I promise. Good. Because Sarah needs her uncle. And honestly, I need my brother-in-law. David's gone, but you're still here. And we're still family, however messy and complicated that family might be. We are, Marcus agreed, his voice thick with emotion. We really are. I'll text you some dates, I said. We'll figure this out. After I hung up, I opened my laptop and navigated to Facebook for what I knew would be the last time. I found David's profile, looked at that final post one more time. Him and Sarah at graduation, both of them smiling, both of them unaware that they had only 7 more days together. And then I did something I should have done 3 years ago. I changed David's privacy settings so his profile would be memorialized. No more logging in. No more messages sent from beyond the grave. No more Marcus or Karen or anyone else accessing the account to manipulate the past. Just a digital monument to a man who'd been imperfect and flawed and human. I wrote a final post on his timeline. David, I hope wherever you are, you've found peace. I hope you know that Sarah is strong and beautiful and brilliant, and she's going to be okay. We both are. You weren't perfect, and neither was our marriage, but you loved us the best way you knew how. Thank you for the good memories. I'm choosing to hold on to those. I didn't mention the affair. Didn't mention Karen or the lies or the pain. Just a simple acknowledgement of the man he'd been. All of him. The good and the bad. Then I closed the laptop and walked outside. The treehouse David had built was still standing in the backyard, weathered and aging, but somehow still solid. I'd been meaning to tear it down for years. Couldn't bear to look at it. This monument to a father Sarah had lost too soon. But now, standing in the morning light, I realized it didn't have to be torn down. It could just be what it was, a treehouse. A structure made of wood and nails, and a father's love for his daughter. Imperfect, showing its age, but still standing. Like us. I climbed the ladder, something I hadn't done in years, and sat in the small space David had created. There were Sarah's initials carved into the wood, next to David's. A promise of forever made in childhood, before she knew that forever doesn't always mean what we think it means. I pulled out my phone and took a picture. Not for Facebook or Instagram or any public display. Just for me. A reminder that even broken things can still stand. That even imperfect love is still love. That we survive. If you're listening to this story, I want you to know something. The truth is always messy. It's complicated and painful, and sometimes it destroys the stories we've been telling ourselves about our lives. But it's also necessary. For 3 years, I tried to protect my daughter from the truth about her father. I thought I was being kind, being merciful, giving her a perfect memory to hold on to. But all I was really doing was denying her the right to know the real person, flaws and all. David wasn't a saint, but he wasn't a villain either. He was just a man who made mistakes, who hurt people he loved, who tried to fix things and ran out of time. And Sarah deserved to know that. Deserved to grieve the real person, not the fantasy I'd constructed. The same is true for all of us. The people we love will disappoint us. They'll make choices that hurt us. They'll be complicated and contradictory and impossible to fit into neat categories of good or bad. And that's okay, because love isn't about perfection. It's about seeing someone fully, their light and their darkness, and choosing to keep loving them anyway, or choosing to walk away if that's what's healthiest. But either way, it's about truth. My daughter received a friend request from her dead father's account, and it led us down a path I never expected. A path that revealed affairs and catfishing and lies that had been buried for years. But in the end, it gave us something more valuable than the comfortable fiction we'd been living. It gave us the truth. And the truth, however painful, set us free. Marcus was right about one thing. Sarah deserved to know who her father really was. Not the sanitized version I'd created, but the whole person. The man who built tree houses and had affairs, who loved his daughter and betrayed his wife, who was trying to be better and simply ran out of time. Would you have told your child the truth? Or would you have kept the secret, protecting them from the complicated reality of who their parent really was? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, if it made you think about the truths you've been hiding or the lies you've been told, please share it. Someone else might need to hear it too. Because here's what I've learned. We don't honor the dead by making them perfect. We honor them by remembering them as they were, flawed and human, and trying their best. And we honor ourselves by living in truth, even when that truth is painful. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, the people we love are never just one thing. They're everything all at once, and that's what makes them human. That's what makes all of us human.